Children, now we begin with the Western and the Eastern Ghats. They lie towards the eastern and western coastal areas of India. Not only India, South India. They are running almost parallel to the coastal areas of India in the west, and in broken parts also in almost parallel in the eastern part of the country as well. The western part is known as the Western Ghats because these are mountain ranges. The eastern part is known as the Eastern Ghats, which are also mountain ranges. Both the heights are not similar. There is a difference between the heights. Now, Western Ghats is close to the Arabian Sea, and Bay of Bengal the Eastern Ghats are closer to the Bay of Bengal branch. Now, the Western Ghats, they are also known as Sahyadri Hills, is formed by the Malabar Plains and the chain of mountains running parallel to India's western coast, pass through the states of Gujarat, Maharashtra, Goa, Karnataka, Kerala, and Tamil Nadu, interrupted only by 30 kilometers break, the Palghat Gap, which is in the north Kerala. Now, Eastern Ghats, they run from West Bengal state in the north and through Odisha and Andhra Pradesh to Tamil Nadu in the south, passing through some parts of Kerala. So Western Ghats, you can see it is almost running parallel to the coastal area of the western part of India. They are continuous, they are not broken, and the height is the average height is between 1200 to 2440 meters on an average. You can see in the other colored picture that clouds can be seen, so it is of quite height as compared to the Eastern Ghats. Now, another thing, in the map you will see that the Western Ghats are continuous. They are not broken in between. They are not broken by the rivers. There are no many valleys. Valleys are there, but then almost they are continuous. Some of the gaps are there, which is used for commuting or transportation. So Western Ghats are continuous mountain chain. They are the source of many rivers such as Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri. These all rivers, they have their source in this mountain range, that is the Western Ghats. They originate here, and since the slope of the Deccan Plateau is towards the right, that is towards the east, it is sloping of a lower height. Therefore, the rivers flow towards the eastern part and hence make a delta in the coastal region, eastern coastal region, and drain in the Bay of Bengal branch. None of the South Indian or the peninsular rivers, they drain in the Arabian Sea. They all have their source in the Western Ghats and their mouth towards the eastern coast. Now, they are the source of many rivers and flows across Deccan Plateau. They are steep and rugged and rise abruptly from the narrow western plains. They lie very close to the Arabian Sea. That was all about Western Ghats. Now we see the Eastern Ghats. They extend from Mahanadi up to the Nilgiri hills. These are not very high mountain ranges and they are broader than the Western Ghats also. The average height is 450 meters, rarely exceeding 1200 meters. And in the map you can see that they are not continuous because they are broken by the river valleys of Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna and Kaveri. So many river flows through them and they drain in the Bay of Bengal because of the slope. They have gentle slopes and rise from the eastern coastal plains. They lie at some distance from the Bay of Bengal. So there is some distance. That means the coastal area is broader of the Eastern Ghats and the coastal area of the Western Ghats are narrower. So this will be the difference, and this is all about the Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats in the book. We'll see the difference again. Now the Western Ghats, they lie along the Arabian Sea, they lie along the Bay of Bengal, stretches from Tapi River to Kanyakumari, stretches from Mahanadi to Nilgiri Hills, height 1200 to 2440 meters, 450 to 1200 meters. These ghats are continuous in nature and can be crossed by passes only. These ghats, Eastern Ghats, have been divided into several parts because of the large rivers. Highest peak of the Western Ghats, Anaimudi. Highest peak of the Eastern Ghat, Jindha, Gadha peak. Then average width is 50 to 80 kilometers, and the average width of Eastern Ghat is 100 to 200 kilometers. Western Ghat is the source of many rivers. No big rivers originate from the Eastern Ghats. Western Ghats is almost perpendicular to the southwest monsoons coming from the Arabian Sea and causes heavy rainfall to the coastal region or the western coast of that area. Eastern Ghats is almost parallel to the monsoons and hence they do not bring any rainfall or cause any rainfall as such. Little rainfall is caused by the monsoon, that is the winter monsoons, which happens in the winter season. Soil is highly fertile and crops like rice, spices, rubber and fruits like coconut, cashew nuts, etc. are grown here in this area, Western Ghats. In the Eastern Ghats, it is not as fertile as the Western Ghats, but they still rice, coconut, cotton, tobacco, groundnut, these are grown in this area. So this was all about the Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats.
With the Deccan Plateau, you will observe that it is bordered by Western Ghats on the west and the Eastern Ghats on the east. If you compare the ranges on both the sides of the Deccan Plateau, you will see a number of interesting differences. The Western Ghats lie parallel to the western coast. They are continuous and can be crossed through passes only. For example, the Thal Ghat and the Bhor Ghat passes act as links between the interiors of the Deccan Plateau and Mumbai. Another pass, the Pal Ghat Gap, found on the Kerala-Tamil Nadu border, serves as a major communication route between the two states. The Eastern Ghats stretch from the Mahanadi Valley to the Nilgiris in the south. Unlike the Western Ghats, the Eastern Ghats are discontinuous and irregular. They are interspersed with several rivers that drain into the Bay of Bengal. These rivers are the Godavari, the Mahanadi, the Krishna, and the Kaveri. Let's now compare the heights of the two ranges. The average elevation of the Western Ghats is 900 to 1,600 meters. On the other hand, the Eastern Ghats have an average elevation of about 600 meters only. Thus, the Western Ghats are taller than the Eastern Ghats. The height of the Western Ghats progressively increase from north to south. The highest peaks include the Annaimudi Peak, which is 2,695 meters tall, and the Dodda Beta Peak, which is 2,637 meters tall. Compared to this, the highest peak in the Eastern Ghats is the Mahendragiri Peak at 1,501 meters. The Shevaroy Hills and the Javadhi Hills are located to the southeast of the Eastern Ghats. The Shevaroy Hills are famous for thriving coffee plantations, pears, oranges, and bananas. Yercaud, a famous hill station, is also a part of Shevaroy Hills. The Javadhi Hills are one of the largest ranges of Eastern Ghats. The map shows the location of some of the famous hill stations of this region: Udagamandalam or Ooty and Kodaikanal.